Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise. Before tonight's game, we pause for a moment of silence as we remember a child in the Fort Lee community who we lost tragically yesterday. At this time, we ask that you please join the Fort Lee community as we pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please remain standing and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Thank you. For tonight's coin toss, our referee, Fran Delaney. We may actually start on time.
Hello and a pleasant good evening to everyone watching this YouTube stream on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. We are just mere minutes away from a big rivalry matchup here at the Dr. Allen W. Sugarman Sports Complex in Fort Lee, New Jersey. It will be the Fort Lee Bridgman football team taking on the Cliffside Park / Ridgefield Red Raiders rivalry night here underneath the Thursday night lights. Still a little bit light out, courtesy of the sun, but the lights have already been turned on, and pretty soon we will get underway. My name is Tommy Aquilina. I will be taking you through this game tonight. It is a matchup of Ivy White Division teams here in the Big North Conference. Fort Lee is playing their first divisional game of the year. Cliffside Park not only playing their second game of the year, their second divisional game of the year. They lost last week 30-7 to Dwight Morrow. Fort Lee, meanwhile, manhandled Hopatcong 49-6. We were here for that one last week. That was just 6 days ago. And then this game, originally scheduled for Friday, moved to tonight. A nice, slightly chilly, comfortable evening here in Fort Lee, New Jersey. And the Fort Lee Bridgemen, clad in their black uniforms with white numbering and orange lettering, getting set to take on the Cliffside Park Ridgefield Red Raiders. Unsurprisingly, their numbering is in red, and they will be wearing their road white uniforms. Normally, the home team wears white, but not the case this evening. 12 minutes are on the clock. We are done with the coin toss, and both teams are taking the field. Fort Lee 1-0. Cliffside Park 0-1. Cliffside Park / Ridgefield tied with Ferris and Kearney. They are all 0-1 in division. Fort Lee is in the middle of the standings, and then tied for first place along with Dwight Morrow are Memorial and Newark East Side. Those three teams are all 1-0. So Fort Lee is looking to join them and improve to 2-0 on the season. Last year, Both of these teams went 5-1 in division, and Fort Lee defeated Cliffside Park 21-14 on September 16th, almost exactly 1 year ago. The Red Raiders to kick things off to start this game. That ball will go through the back of the end zone, and we will start things off with a touchback. Luke Senator leads his offense out onto the field. And there he is, number 13, the sophomore quarterback, taking over for Raymond Lau. In week 1, Senator was 3 of 10 for 31 passing yards and a touchdown, so a 30% completion percentage here on the young season. Senator, with senior running back Aiden Colon beside him. Colon had a massive game last week. We start things off with a handoff to Colon, and that is going to be a short carry. Last week, Aiden Colon had 16 carries for 212 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns, a massive game. And overall, Fort Lee, I believe, scored 5 rushing touchdowns last week. Plus the passing touchdown by Senator. No gain on that first run for Cologne, so after running for 200 yards last week, 1 carry for no yards, and here he gets the ball. He gets tackled after a short gain, but there is a flag on the play.
Number 78 of the offense. Replay first down. Correction, second down.
Second and 10.
So the penalty assessed to the Fort Lee Bridgemen, a 49-6 thrashing of Hapatcong last week, but the only real issue for Fort Lee, besides the passing game not being tremendous, too many penalties. Way too many penalties. Got to clean that up, especially in closer games moving on, and I'm sure head coach Charles Salome focused on that with his team this week. It's 2nd and 20. Senator trying to draw the offsides. Good discipline by the Red Raiders. Little more than a minute gone by here in the first quarter. Now Senator back to pass. Finds number 2, Kendry Peralta, and Peralta is tackled right around the 15-yard line. Should be 3rd and 15.
Picks up 6 yards on the play. He's stopped by Rainer Muscat.
The senior Peralta had a rushing touchdown last week. Chris Chun also had a rushing score. And then so did Ron Leposki. And Aiden Colon had 3. So 6 rushing touchdowns last week for the Bridgemen in their 49-6 win over Hapatcong. Officially, it's 3rd and 14 at the 16. They fake a handoff to Peralta. This is Chris Chun catching the ball and getting tackled at the 20-yard line. I believe that was number 3, Eddie Schaefer, making the tackle. Schaefer, a running back on offense, also a linebacker on defense. A lot of players play offense and defense for both of these teams. And it'll be 4th and 10 on the 20. Officially, Fort Lee will gain 0 yards on that possession. Josh Efraimov to punt. That hit a Cliffside Park Ridgefield player and was picked up by a member of Fort Lee. That should be Fort Lee ball. And it is Fort Lee ball. The Red Raider was not going for the ball. I think he was trying to prevent a member of Fort Lee from touching the ball, and it hit his shoulder pad on the bounce, and so a Bridgeman very wisely jumped on the football. That'll be a costly special teams turnover for the Red Raiders. Fort Lee ball on their own 43-yard line. So a gift given to Fort Lee, and they will go right back to work offensively. Senator hands off to Peralta, and it's a pretty short carry for the senior, Kendry Peralta. 1 carry last week. It was a 1-yard touchdown run. Peralta also a part of the passing game, as we've already seen earlier today. It'll be 2nd and 7 for the Bridgemen. Stasi Katsayanis, their kicker and also center. It's a handoff to Cologne, and a solid tackle right there by Laz Darbo, wide receiver, but also a defensive back. Makes the strong tackle. That is a gain of 1, and it'll be 3rd and 6. Third and 6 for Fort Lee at their own 48-yard line. They need to get to the Red Raider 47. Senator with the handoff. It's a lateral. Chun winds up with it, and he will get stopped at the 50. Senator to Cologne to Chun. And Fort Lee has been stymied here yet again offensively, and yet again they will punt. 4 minutes gone by here in the 4th quarter. Let's see who's back to receive. Chris Gregory and Drake Lewis to receive for the Red Raiders, but we have a timeout taken by the Bridgemen. First of the game here with 7:44 to go in the 1st quarter. Last year rather, Fort Lee went 8-1 and 5-1 in division. That included their victory over Cliffside Park on September 16th. That was the only in-division loss for the Red Raiders. They went 5-1 in division and 5-3 overall. They are 0-1 and 0-1 in division so far. So trying to get right back in the thick of the Ivy White divisional race here in the Big North Conference. Fort Lee did not have 2 possessions in which they failed to score in the entire first half last week. So far here, they are 0 for 2, and now the Red Raiders will get the ball. Hold on, we have more whistles. And now we have a timeout by the Red Raiders. So a timeout by Fort Lee, and now a timeout by Cliffside Park / Ridgefield and head coach Tom Mandel. No plays in between. Still 7:44 to go in the 1st quarter. Now we should be just about ready to continue play. A special teams turnover for the Red Raiders on the last punt. Let's see if they can take over this time. Oh my goodness, do we have another timeout? We do. Fort Lee has taken back-to-back timeouts with a Red Raider timeout in the middle. It is an ice cream sandwich of timeouts here in the 1st quarter, and we've seen no plays since the first of these 3 timeouts was taken. I'll step aside while these teams get it together. So head coach Charles Salame has to burn his 2nd timeout to avoid an illegal substitution, but it looks like it's going to be worth it. Aiden Cologne breaking tackles. Aiden Cologne will run for the touchdown on 4th and 2. Fort Lee decided to go for it on 4th down at their own 50. They had to take 2 timeouts in order to do it, and then Aiden Cologne ran for his 4th rushing touchdown here in the first 4.5 quarters of the season. 6-0 Fort Lee. And now Katsayanis for the extra point. He was 3 of 4 on PATs last week. Bad snap, doesn't matter. The kick is good for Katsayanis. Really nice hold there by Senator, and it's 7-0 Bridgman.
Score Fort Lee 7, Cliffside Park, Richfield nothing. TV time. I'm not looking forward to this Rutgers game on Saturday.
So, quite a while without any action, and then a very exciting 50-yard touchdown run on 4th and 2 for Aiden Colon, his 4th rushing touchdown of the young season. And that's the way football goes. Not a lot of action, and then all of a sudden, bang, 7-0 Fort Lee. Meanwhile, the Red Raiders haven't even gotten the ball yet. So Charles Salame's squad does indeed take advantage of the turnover on special teams. And now let's see how the Red Raiders can respond. It will be Katsayanis on the kickoff. Solid kickoff. Chases Eddie Schaefer back to the 10. Schaefer will get hit by number 5, Jaden Lugo, and he will not quite make it to the 30-yard line. So Cliffside Park / Ridgefield will, in fact, take over. Number 7, Jason Marisculo, the junior quarterback, will lead his offense onto the field. And the Red Raiders will try to erase this 7-0 deficit. Again, they don't even get the football until more than 4.5 minutes have gone by here in this first quarter. They fake the handoff. Marisculo takes it himself and is stood up. Lugo and Kendry Peralta were there, as well as another member of Fort Lee, and a pretty unsuccessful first run there for the Red Raiders. No gain, so it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 29. Schaefer, the return man, also one of the running backs for the Red Raiders. Lining up as a receiver right now. Marisculo finds his man. That's number 13, Brian Gonzalez, senior wide receiver. Gonzalez gets to the 35, and so that will make it a 3rd and manageable 4. They spotted it at the 35. Marisculo telling his team what to do in the huddle as number 11, another senior wide receiver, comes off. That's Kendrick Hunter. Again, Hunter off. Schaefer and Gonzalez lined up as receivers right now for the Red Raiders. Marisculo setting up his team. Now rolling to his right. No one is open. He's looking for a man, and he's got a man! Really nice over-the-shoulder catch there by Chris Gregory, but there is a penalty marker in the backfield, and it's going to go against the Red Raiders. So take that one back. Nice catch by Gregory, who goes to Ridgefield along with Marisculo, but all for naught. So following the penalty, it will be 3rd and 15 for the Red Raiders. More than halfway through this first quarter. 7-0 Fort Lee. The Red Raiders trying to avoid their loss to Fort Lee last year, and that would make both of these teams 1-1 on the season. Now with Schaefer in motion, Marashulo throws it into the line. So it'll be 4th and 15 for the Red Raiders. Marashulo with a little hitch in his giddy-up as he comes off the field. He was hit as he threw. And the Red Raiders will punt.
The deep men for the Bridgemen. Drake Lewis to punt.
Drake Lewis will punt for the Red Raiders. Jalen Balbuena and June Best back to receive for the Bridgemen. Someone stepped over. That should be a penalty on Fort Lee, but it's still going to be 4th down, just 4th and shorter.
Encroaching, number 66 of the defense.
That call is going to go against number 66, Arsham Bayrami, one of the leaders of this Fort Lee defense. But he jumped early there, so it's going to be 4th and 9 instead of 4th and 14. Looks like the Red Raiders are still going to punt. Short punt, or short snap rather. Really not that bad of a punt. It will go out of bounds.
37 yards, no return. First down, Fort Lee.
No return on the punt. And Fort Lee will take over. They did not score on their first drive, but after a special teams turnover by the Red Raiders, Aiden Colon ran for a 50-yard 4th down touchdown, and that's where we are. 7-0 Fort Lee, 5:26 to go here in the first quarter, and now Luke Senator and the Bridgemen will take over at the 32-yard line.
My buddy just became the announcer for the Commanders and the sports information director at
7 rushing touchdowns for the Bridgemen in not even 5 full quarters. Pass completed to Peralta. Peralta will get past the 40. He pointed, signifying that he got a first down. I'm not so sure he did.
9-yard gain on the play. He stopped by
He did not. It's a gain of 9. So 2nd and 1 from the 41. Peralta, 1 carry last week. Now he has his first 2 receptions of his senior season. He and the tight end, Gabe Jimenez, will both be in motion. They stop. Another handoff to Colon. Aiden Colon breaking more tackles, finally taken down by Laz Darbo after getting into Red Raider territory. Aiden Colon picking up right where he left off last week, and it will be 1st and 10 for Fort Lee at the Red Raider 40-yard line. Now Senator flanked by Peralta. Chun might have gone early there. It'll be a false start called against Fort Lee. They have still committed too many penalties today, even though they do lead this one 7-0.
False start, number 7 of the offense.
And they will get Chun for the false start. Chun last week had 62 total all-purpose yards, 59 on the ground, and then 3 receiving yards. He also ran for a score. It's 1st and 15 from the 45. Senator gives it to Peralta. Stutter steps for a moment, and Peralta will get tackled by number 24, David Aldaz. Strong tackle for the senior from Cliffside Park. It's a 4-yard run for Peralta, and so it'll be 2nd and 11.
3-yard gain on the play
make that 2nd and 12 officially with a little more than 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Now Senator fakes the handoff to Peralta, gets it to Chun, who slips but stays on his feet, and Chris Chun is going to get tackled for a loss. That was Kaisa Hall, the big defensive end from Cliffside Park. It's a loss of 3, and so it'll be 3rd and 15. Senator with a better completion percentage than he had last week, but he might have thrown for negative yardage so far here in this one. Back to pass on 3rd and long. It's a short dump off to Peralta with men in his face, and Peralta's going to lose yardage, but not the football. Crucially, he does not fumble, but the Bridgemen will punt.
Garbo and Muscat on the stop. Loss of 5, 4th and 20 from midfield.
The ball will be placed at the 50-yard line.
Josh Efremov to kick it away from the Bridgemen.
Fort Lee to punt. It will be Josh Efremov with Gregory and Lewis back to receive for the Red Raiders. Efremov takes the high snap, gets the punt off, fairly short. It will wind up in Cliffside Park Ridgefield territory. Took a favorable bounce, and so it was downed by number 23, Ian Park of the Bridgemen. No return on the punt. Officially, it will be a 14-yard punt, and the Red Raiders will take over at the 37-yard line. So actually, it'll be a 13-yard punt. Jason Marashulo coming back onto the field. A minute 38 to go here in the first quarter. Already Fort Lee only with 1 timeout remaining in the half. 2 for the Red Raiders. Marashulo flanked by Lewis. Back to pass. Gets his pass off, and almost breaking a second tackle was Chris Gregory. Got through the first one, but a strong tackle made there, I believe, by Jaden Lugo. 7-yard pass from Marashulo to Gregory makes it 2nd down and 3. Still more than a minute to go here in the first quarter. Dimitri von der Linden heads to the sideline for Fort Lee. Marashulo with runners on either side of him. He gives it to one of them. He does give it to Lewis. Lewis has a first down before getting chopped down by Ron Leposki. Right at the 50-yard line. So now working from midfield will be the Red Raiders. They should have time to get off at least one more play here in the first quarter. With the high-flying offense that Fort Lee has shown in the first 5 quarters of the season, the fewer possessions might be the better for the Red Raiders. Of course, they have to get some points on the board themselves. With Schaefer in motion, they fake the handoff to Lewis, and Kendry Peralta absolutely pops Jason Marashulo. Doesn't get right back up, but he gets up, and now will head to the sideline to get the play from his head coach. That will be, on that 0-yard run for the quarterback, how the first quarter ends. 7-0 Fort Lee after 12 minutes of action. We've got 36 more to go. I'll be right back after a brief pause. Tommy Aquilina back here with you at the Sugarman Sport Complex.
Second and 10 from midfield.
Big divisional matchup here in the Big North Conference Ivy White Division between Cliffside Park Ridgefield and Fort Lee. The teams are switching sides of the field right now. They don't have to move the ball because it's at midfield. And the Red Raiders have second down and 10 after a 0-yard run by quarterback Jason Marasciulo. He has been beat up so far tonight, and we've only played one quarter. Got hit hard by Kendry Peralta on the last play of the first quarter. Peralta had 3 tackles in the Week 1 victory for Fort Lee. Here it's a pass to Eddie Schaefer. Eddie Schaefer is tackled by Jaden Lugo, but he is only just short of the first down marker.
Lugo tackle. 9-yard gain.
Lugo picked up 7 tackles last week for the Bridgemen, plus he had a receiving touchdown.
Down. And 2. Ball spotted at the 42.
They might have shorted Schaefer a yard there. They spotted it at the 42, so it is second down and a full 2 yards for the Red Raiders. Third down, I mean, and a full 2 yards. So a big play here early in the second quarter. Also, 2 timeouts remaining for the Red Raiders, only 1 for Fort Lee. Direct snap to Schaefer. I don't know if he got the first down. Thrown down behind the line of scrimmage by Peralta. But where did his forward progress stop? It stopped half a yard short.
Just about the 40.
Really less than half a yard. Decision time for head coach Tom Mandel. It looks like he's going to have his team go for it at the not quite 40-yard line of Fort Lee. Aiden Cologne's rushing touchdown from midfield came on a 4th down play. 4 receivers lined up here, but I bet you they're going to run the ball. It might be Marasciulo taking it himself. Oh, he goes around the line of scrimmage. Jason Marasciulo has a first down before he gets flipped in the air by a Fort Lee defender. Good football right there from the Red Raiders. It is first down, and that wound up being about a 5-yard carry. Two minutes gone by here in the second quarter. The Red Raiders looking to knot the game up. They just converted on 4th and inches. And now quarterback Marasciulo, who ran for that first down, calling out plays to his team. And now back to pass. With a man in his face, he runs out of it, passes it for Gregory, who makes the catch. Another really impressive catch by Chris Gregory. This time it will count. And he's down inside the 10-yard line. They're going to spot him at the 10, so it's a 21-yard reception for Chris Gregory.
First and goal from the 10.
That'll make it first and goal for the Red Raiders, but crucially, they cannot get a first down without scoring. Schaefer moves over. They hand it off to Drake Lewis. Lewis will get nothing.
Drake Lewis on the run for Cliffside Park Ridgefield.
I believe Chun and Leposki were in on the tackle on that one for the Bridgemen.
1-yard gain, second and 9 from the 9.
They're going to give Lewis 1 yard, so it'll be second and 9 from the 9. Marasciulo back to pass. Running out of pressure. Looks like he's going to have to take it himself. Marashulo will get spun around and dragged down by Joel Rodriguez of Fort Lee. Held onto the ball and got a gain of 3. So it's 3rd and goal from the 6 for the Red Raiders. I wonder how close they would have to get to go for it on 4th down. Obviously, Tom Mandel wants to score here on 3rd. Still more than 7.5 to play here in the 2nd quarter, but this has been a long and methodical drive for the Red Raiders. Looks like 4 eligible receivers for the Red Raiders. Marashulo rolling to his right with protection. Marashulo looking to pass. Tipped out of bounds. Jaden Lugo on the coverage. He breaks up that pass. It'll be 4th and 6, and it looks like Tom Mandel is going to go for the field goal. It'll be interesting to see what the Red Raiders do here. It looks like Lewis will hold, and Darbo, a wide receiver and defensive back, is their field goal man. A lefty kicker. The snap is good. The hold is good. The kick is no good. A Red Raider put his hands on his helmet as that kick by Darbo went wide left. So it remains 7-0 Fort Lee, and the Bridgemen will take over with 7:13 to go here in the 2nd quarter. They will look to make it a multi-possession game. Because it was a missed field goal, Fort Lee will get it at the 20-yard line. Senator handing it off to Cologne. Cologne will get a 5-yard gain. Tackled by number 10, Kaiza Hall of the Red Raiders. Fort Lee has more than half of the 2nd quarter to work with and 1 timeout as they look to expand upon their 7-0 lead. By this point in the game last week, it was already over. They were going to win. Another handoff. And that is a short gain. I don't think that's any gain on that run. No gain, so it'll be 3rd down and 5. Obviously, a short possession here would greatly help the Red Raiders. Potentially, they can get good field position and try to make another drive. A good drive stymied by the missed field goal by Darbo. On 3rd and 5, it's a handoff to Chris Chun, and he is tackled nicely by Drake Lewis. Went for the ankles and got a solid tackle. It's a 3-and-out for the Bridgemen. Their offense has not looked nearly as dominant as it did last week. And they're going to have to punt. Loss of 3 on that run for Chris Chun. He had 59 rushing yards last week. Now a Framov to punt again for the Bridgemen. Couple players back to receive for the Red Raiders. And it's going to be handled by Gregory, and Gregory will get tackled by a gaggle of Bridgemen. Maxime Masliuk was in on it. The freshman, number 59. Ryan Kim was also in the area, number 58. They'll both come off. And the Red Raiders will take over in Fort Lee territory, specifically at the 41-yard line. They have 5:22 to work with and 2 timeouts. Last week, Fort Lee with a 49-6 victory. Their offense has not been that high-flying this week. However, the Red Raiders have really struggled getting anything going offensively. 7 points last week in a loss to Dwight Morrow, and nothing so far today. 0 for 1 on their lone field goal attempt. Marashulo to Gregory. And from the, I misspoke before, it was the 46 they were at, not the 41. I believe they just went from the 46 to the 41. So a 5-yard catch for Gregory, and it'll be 2nd down and 5 for the Red Raiders. 5 minutes to go in the half. And then Cliffside Park Ridgefield will also get the second half kickoff. So depending on how things go here, they could get back-to-back possessions. But obviously they're focused on this one and specifically on getting on the board. Marashulo gets it and immediately passes it off for a Red Raider first down. That was Schaefer making the catch and getting the first down for the Red Raiders. Schaefer was knocked out of bounds with 4:27 to go here in the first half. Cliffside Park Ridgefield is now at the 34-yard line of Fort Lee. A 30-7 loss last week for the Red Raiders to Dwight Morrow. Memorial, Newark Eastside, and Dwight Morrow all 1-0 atop the Ivy White division. Fort Lee trying to join them with a 1-0 record. They beat Hapatcong last week. Marashulo does not call for a snap, and Coach Tom Mandel takes a timeout. Second of the half for the Red Raiders.
And stop by the concession stand for game day pins available on sale at the concession stand. A reminder to all fans that if you exit the facility at any point during tonight's game, you will not be permitted to re-enter. Thank you for your continued cooperation.
3 minutes and 45 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. 1st and 10 from the 34 for Cliffside Park Ridgefield. The Red Raiders with their first solid sustained drive. On their last drive, it ended with a missed field goal attempt by Laz Darbo. Still 1 timeout remaining for the Red Raiders and 3:45 to go in the half. Marashulo, back to pass, immediately has his spot blown up, and he goes down, loses the football. Fort Lee recovers. That should be Joel Rodriguez getting credit for the fumble caused. I didn't see who recovered it, but it was a Bridgman. The referees will discuss if Marashulo was down before he lost the football. That would be a costly turnover for the Red Raiders. And indeed, he did lose it. So we've seen some sloppy play here tonight. A lot of penalties, a turnover on special teams, now a turnover on offense for the Red Raiders. They've also missed a field goal. Luke Senator handles the low snap. Cologne and the reverse lateral to Chun, and Chris Chun loses yardage. 2 Red Raiders in on the tackle, including Schaefer. It's a loss of 3, so it'll be 2nd down and 13 for Fort Lee from their own 42-yard line. Now Chun will come off and get replaced by Peralta. You want a nice long drive here if you're Fort Lee, even if you don't score. Try to get to the half with the lead. Of course, it would be nice to see their offense do something. They have not looked nearly as good as they looked last week when they really dominated Hapatcong and did whatever they wanted. Straight handoff to Cologne this time. He goes right up the gut and gets to midfield.
8-yard gain on the play.
That'll be a gain of 8, and it'll be third and manageable for the Bridgemen. They're going to call it 3rd and 5, and by the time the ball is snapped, there will be less than 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Remember, the Red Raiders will get the second half kickoff, so for Fort Lee, it would be nice to get a score here and make it a multi-possession game. Senator looks right, passes left, the catch is made, a tackle is broken, and Kendry Peralta should be at about the 42-yard line of Cliffside Park Ridgefield.
Brought down by David Aldez. 7-yard gain brings up a Fort Lee first down.
That's a 7-yard reception for Peralta on 3rd down and 5. The ball is basically at the 42.5-yard line. Under 2 minutes to play here in the first half. Fort Lee does have one remaining timeout. So do the Red Raiders, for that matter. Senator fakes the handoff. He's going to go deep. The catch is made, and running into the end zone is Jalen Balbuena for the touchdown. Totally busted coverage. Jalen Balbuena with the touchdown reception. That is his first of the year. Second passing touchdown of the year for Luke Senator. And Fort Lee goes up 13-0. Katsayanis for the point after. Senator to hold. $14-0 Fort Lee with 1:38 remaining here in the first half. So a 50-yard touchdown run on 4th and 2 for Aiden Cologne, and then a 42-yard touchdown completion from Luke Senator to Jalen Balbuena, who waltzed into the end zone untouched. Meanwhile, Katsayanis, 3 of 4 on points after last week. One of them was blocked. He is 2 for 2 tonight. So can the Red Raiders respond with 1:38 remaining in the first half? They trail 14-0. Katsayanis to kickoff. Over the head of Darbo, who slips and will get called down by the referees. Risky decision for Darbo to go back and catch that football, and then he tried to make something of it on the return, and he slipped and fell. So the ball will get spotted inside the 5-yard line. Oh my. Meanwhile, the Red Raiders will have 94 seconds to work with and 1 timeout. Charles Salame will use his final timeout as Fort Lee determines what they want to do. If Fort Lee can force a quick 3-and-out here, they could get really good field position and really step on the throats of the Red Raiders. Dangerous possession here for Cliffside Park Ridgefield. If they don't at least get basically out of their own end zone, they could be in serious trouble. If they can get to the half at least only down 14-0, they would get the second half kickoff and things would be manageable. They now have 1 timeout remaining. None for Fort Lee. Now we're about ready to get back underway. Mentioned a very important and dangerous possession here for the Red Raiders, inside their own 10. Marashulo with the QB sneak, and not much doing there. I think Tom Mandel just wants to run the clock out here, not have his team go down 3 scores. They gave Marashulo a yard on that QB sneak, so it is 2nd and 9. There's under a minute to play as the Red Raiders are taking their sweet time. They will get the second half kickoff, and that's probably when they're going to really try to make something happen. Only 7 points scored for the Red Raiders in just about 6 full quarters of action so far this year. And now it looks like they're just trying to knee it. And a penalty flag has been thrown. Someone on Fort Lee might have been going too hard there, as the Red Raiders are just trying to get to halftime.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 66, defense.
It's going to be a personal roughness penalty called against Arsham Bairami. Important yardage, really gifted to the Red Raiders there, but I still think they're just going to try to get to halftime, trailing 14-0. "34 seconds remain in the half. The Red Raiders might try to run one Hail Mary type play here, as there's less than 20 seconds to go in the half. Or they might just knee it. They are just going to knee it, and that will be how the first half ends. Couple really, really exciting plays for Fort Lee. Overall, they have not looked as much like the world beaters that they were last week against Hapatcong, but a 14-0 advantage for the Bridgemen. We will go to the half. I will be back after that. Don't go anywhere, folks. We are back in black, or at least the Fort Lee Bridgemen are, wearing their black uniforms with white numbering. They are hosting the Cliffside Park Ridgefield Red Raiders, wearing their white uniforms with red lettering. And the Fort Lee Bridgemen lead this one 14-0 here at the Dr. Allen W. Sugarman Sports Complex. My name is Tommy Aquilina, back here with you for the second half of play in this Ivy White divisional matchup. We are just about a minute away from the second half, and getting the second half kickoff will be the Red Raiders. They were unable to score in that first half, a missed field goal by Laz Darbo. And so, like I said, it is 14-0 in favor of the Bridgemen on 4th down and 2 after head coach Charles Salame had to burn 2 of his timeouts in order to avoid a penalty. Aiden Colon ran for a 50-yard touchdown, his 4th of the young season. And then there was a 42-yard touchdown pass between quarterback Luke Senator and Jalen Balbuena, his first touchdown reception of the year, Senator's second passing touchdown of the season. Meanwhile, Stasi Katsayanis is 2 for 2 on points after. He is now 5 out of 6 on PATs this year, plus he has a fumble recovery on defense, a turnover on special teams, and a turnover on offense for the Red Raiders, and they trailed this one 14-0. Looking to get their first win of the year, they are 0-1 and tied with Ferris and Kearney for last place in the Ivy White division. Fort Lee 1-0 as they won a non-divisional game last week, so 0-0 in division. And then the 3 1-0 teams in the Ivy White are Dwight Morrow, who beat Cliffside Park Ridgefield 30-7 1 week ago today, and then Memorial and Newark Eastside. Fort Lee looking to tie those teams at 1-0 in division, and then next week, Fort Lee will play their first road game of the year. It will be at Newark Eastside, and that will be next Thursday night. But let's focus on the here and now. 14-0 Fort Lee, and again, Cliffside Park Ridgefield to get the second half kickoff.
Gregory and Lewis are deep for Cliffside Park Ridgefield.
The deep men for the Red Raiders are the aforementioned Darbo and Gregory. Stasi Katsayanis to kick off this second half. And it is actually Eddie Schaefer who will handle it and take it past the 30-yard line. So Cliffside Park Ridgefield will look to get something going offensively as their quarterback, Jason Marasciulo, takes the field. He did get hit quite a bit in that first half. Looks like Marasciulo already not quite running at 100%. Going to try to lead his team to a second half comeback. Offensively, Tom Mandel's team has not done much yet this year. 7 points in their loss last week and held off the board in the first half tonight. Some Thursday night lights action, second half underway. Marasciulo with a host of eligible receivers. Drake Lewis is in motion. Marasciulo finds his man, making the grab, and getting past the 35-yard line is number 13, Brian Gonzalez, senior wide receiver from Cliffside Park.
Peralta in on the stop.
Kendry Peralta, who had 3 tackles last week for the Bridgemen, in on the stop that time. It'll be 2nd down and 4 at the 39-yard line. Marasciulo with a short pass completed to Gonzalez. He has the first down after catching the lateral, and he will head out of bounds in Fort Lee territory. Question mark? No. He got to the 48-yard line, Gonzalez did. So back-to-back catches for Gonzalez. And the Red Raiders are trying to move. Maybe Tom Mandel will try to use the passing attack to get the Red Raider offense going. 5 eligible receivers here. No one in the backfield for the Red Raiders. Someone might have started early. Nothing was called. Marashulo avoiding the sack, gets the pass off to Schaefer. Schaefer switching sides of the field. Eddie Schaefer is dragged down at the Fort Lee 45. Make that the Fort Lee 35. And the Red Raiders are, in fact, moving the ball a little bit here in the third quarter. They're going to spot it at really about the 34-yard line of Fort Lee. Fareed Peregrino Brima will huddle off the field for Fort Lee. Charles Salome was lucky in the first half. He definitely does not want to burn 2 timeouts early in the half like he did last time. Avoids using a timeout here as we are just about 2 minutes underway here in the second half. Defense chants coming from the student section of Fort Lee. Marashulo back to pass. His spot is blown up. He steps out of it, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Lewis. Jaden Lugo with the pass break up there. 10:02 to go in the third quarter. 2nd down and 10. So the passing attack has proved somewhat effective here in the third quarter for the Red Raiders. Off that incomplete pass, Marashulo giving direction to his team. Takes the snap, immediately passes it to Gonzalez, who cannot hold on to it. It'll be 3rd and 10. It'll be 3rd and 10 from the Fort Lee 34. The Red Raiders are still not quite in field goal range, so they're going to have to make something happen here if they want to cut into this 14-0 Fort Lee lead. Bayrami will come off for the Bridgeman as they look to make this 3rd down stop. And here we go on 3rd and 10. Marashulo immediately gets it off to Gregory. Chris Gregory sheds a tackle, and Chris Gregory will be close to the 1st down. I don't quite think he got there. Lugo with the tackle. And Gregory will be downed at the 31-yard line. So it's 4th and 2. And it's decision time for Tom Mandel, and it looks like he's made his decision. His team is going for it. Fourth down and 2, probably a little long for a direct snap or a QB sneak or something. Maybe not. He is going to take it himself. Marashulo pushed forward by, I believe that was Bayrami of Fort Lee, and he might have been really given a 1st down by a Bridgeman. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 23-yard line for the Red Raiders. They get the first down on 4th and 2, but this really does make it so that this drive is a must score for the Red Raiders. Can't do all of this good and come away without points, especially down by 2 scores. Time is on their side, not even 3 minutes gone by here in the second half. Now just over 3 minutes gone by. Marasciulo looking for a man. He's got Gregory. Oh, nice grab. Nicely held on to right there by Gregory. He was hit right as he caught that ball. But it will be a gain of 3, I believe. 2nd and 7 from the 20. The Red Raiders have made it into the red zone. And Marasciulo will head to the sideline to get his directions from his coach. Marasciulo, the Ridgefield Jr., quarterbacking for the Red Raiders. Five receivers set for the Red Raiders, trying to avoid a sack and taking a tackle is Marasciulo. Dimitri von der Linden was in on the stop along with Lugo. So it'll be 3rd and 4. This feels like 4th down territory, especially after they already went for one earlier in the drive. But let's see what Marasciulo and the Red Raiders can cook up here on 3rd and 4. The Red Raiders taking their time. They want to make sure that they have a plan and know what they're doing. Looks like this is going to be a direct snap to Drake Lewis on 3rd and 4. Lewis faked a little handoff, but he did not get the first down. Some trickery there for the Red Raiders, and it did not work out. I'm not really sure what they were trying to do there, but it will be 4th down. This drive has taken up just about half of the 3rd quarter. A loss of 1 for Lewis on that run. So it is 4th and 5 from the Fort Lee 18. Gigantic play in this game. Marasciulo has Hall next to him, and we have a timeout by the Red Raiders, I believe. And it is, in fact, Red Raider timeout. Their first of the half. .6:04 to go here in the 3rd quarter. And the Red Raiders, I wouldn't say they're marching down the field, but they are methodically making their way down the field as they trail 14-0 here at the Sugarman Sport Complex. All right, timeout over. 4th and 5 from the 18. Here we go. Marasciulo rolling to his left, now running to his left. Lugo chasing him to the end zone. Not really sure what that was to, but it was an incomplete pass for Marasciulo. It's a turnover on downs. Fort Lee will take over at their own 18 with a 14-point lead as half of the 3rd quarter plus a second melted away, and the Red Raiders come away with no points. Now, if you're Fort Lee, you would love to have a nice long possession of your own here that ideally would end with points, and you can really take control of this game. Fort Lee beat Hopatcong last week 49-6. Meanwhile, Cliffside Park Ridgefield fell to Dwight Morrow 30-7. This is Aiden Cologne with it, a rushing touchdown in the first half. There is a penalty marker as Cologne spins out of bounds. Let's see what the flag was all about. Too many penalties called against Fort Lee last week. That has also been a bit of a bugaboo so far here tonight.
There are 2 fouls on the play.
And there are 2 fouls on this play.
That penalty is declined.
And they're both going to go against Fort Lee.
With a hold, replay second down. Correction, replay first down.
So they will replay first down. It should be first down and 20 at the 8-yard line for Fort Lee.
Penalty makes it first and 20 from the Fort Lee 9.
So 2 penalties, one of which was declined by Tom Mandel, and the other one makes it first and 20. Obviously important for the Red Raiders to not let Cliffside Park, or to not let Fort Lee, rather, get much yardage here. Cologne again for an extremely short gain, if a gain at all, and it'll be second down and long.
No gain, second and 20 from the 9. Keep run out.
Now Luke Senator takes the field. The sophomore quarterback threw for his second passing touchdown of the year in the first half, a 42-yard hookup with Jalen Balbuena. 2 passing touchdowns this year for Senator, 1 to Balbuena, 1 to Lugo. With under 5 minutes to play in the third quarter, Senator to Cologne. Aiden Cologne has not been touched. He has the first down. Finally tackled by Gregory. Gain of 20+ for Aiden Cologne.
Chris Gregory makes the stop. That's a Fort Lee first down.
Fort Lee going no huddle.
Penalty marker down.
And there's a penalty marker down as a Red Raider hits the deck.
Number 78 of the offense.
Fort Lee going a little too fast for their own good as they get called for the false start.
First and 15 from the 25.
With penalties, Fort Lee has been better at stopping the Fort Lee offense than Cliffside Park Ridgefield has been. Still 14-0 in favor of the Bridgemen. And about 4 minutes to go here in the third quarter. This is the first possession of the half for Fort Lee. Senator with another handoff to Cologne, and now this is the Aiden Cologne show. He is dragged down after making it past the 35-yard line.
He's brought down by Rainer Muscat. 12-yard gain on the play. Second and 3 from the 37.
A gain of 7 on that run for Cologne, who will come out now as Chris Chun comes in. Last week, Cologne ran for 212 yards and 3 touchdowns. He already has another rushing touchdown tonight, and Fort Lee has a 2-touchdown advantage. Now they hand it off to Chun. Chris Chun fighting for and getting the first down.
Chris Chun picks up 6.
He needed 3, he got 6.
First and 10
Fort Lee at their own 43. 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Senator hands it off to Peralta, who knocks down a defender and gets past midfield.
11-yard gain. That's a Fort Lee first down.
Peralta with the first down run. He gets to the Red Raider 47. Fort Lee going to try to go no huddle again. No penalty markers this time. Another run for Peralta. He goes right up the gut. And Kendry Peralta gets taken down at the Red Raider 35-yard line. And there is a player in white on his back. He's moving but not getting up, so we have an official timeout with 2 minutes and 36 seconds remaining in the third quarter. I believe that is Laz Darbo. And he'll get looked at by a Cliffside Park Ridgefield trainer. It's 1st and 10, Fort Lee at the Red Raider 35, and you feel like a score here of any kind for the Bridgemen would be a backbreaker, especially with the lack of offense we've seen so far this season from Tom Mandel's squad. I'll step aside for this injury timeout. Tommy Aquilina back on the mic here at the Dr. Allen W. Sugarman Sports Complex. Darbo made it off the field under his own power. And Fort Lee is figuring out what exactly they're going to do here on this 1st and 10 play. Charles Salame's squad trying to improve to 2-0 on the season and 1-0 in division. They beat Cliffside Park 21-14 last season. They beat Hopatcong 49-6 6 days ago. This has now become an extended timeout. We'll call it an official timeout. Fort Lee has all 3 of theirs remaining for the third and fourth quarters. Tom Mandel's squad is down to 2 timeouts. If you want to look ahead to next week, Fort Lee will be at Newark Eastside for another divisional matchup. And Cliffside Park, Ridgefield, will also have a divisional matchup. They will be at Memorial for a second straight road game. Both of those games will occur 1 week from today, next Thursday on September 21st. Fort Lee crowd getting into it now as the Bridgemen line up here on 1st and 10 at the CPR 35. Senator fakes the handoff to Peralta. Going deep. He had Chris Chun wide open, and he could not hit him. 2nd and 10. So Coach Salame and the Bridgemen took a shot there on 1st down. What do they do now here on 2nd and 10? Peralta will line up as a receiver now. They give it to Cologne. Aiden Cologne gets back to the line of scrimmage, but not much else. Should be about 3rd and 8 from the CPR 33. Under 2 minutes to play here in the third quarter. 1 possession here in the third quarter for each team. A long drive for the Red Raiders. They did not score. Fort Lee has gotten into Red Raider territory. looking to add to their 14-0 lead. A fake handoff. A pass to Jimenez. Make that Lugo. Is it a first down?
Pass complete to Jimmy Lugo.
Yes, it is. Move those chains.
Move those chains. First down.
Lugo with one catch last week. It was for a touchdown. He has the first down here. Now they hand off to Aiden Colon. Aiden Colon is chopped down. Nice tackle there by Schaefer.
Brought down by Schaefer. In 3. Second and 7 from the 20.
It'll be 2nd down and 7 for the Bridgemen from the Red Raider 20. Fort Lee has made it into the red zone. We've made it to the 1-minute mark of the third quarter. A little pitch to Peralta, and he gets tripped up after a short gain. I think they're going to give him 1 yard on that, so it should be...
Third down and 5 to go.
maybe they gave him 2. Looks like it's going to be 3rd and 5. Charles Salome can do whatever he wants, but they have time for one more play. 15 seconds to go in the quarter. They're going to run one more play. Aiden Colon does not get the first down, and so it will be 4th down and short when the fourth quarter begins. Or actually, maybe not. They stopped the clock to get a spot. Oh, they gave him the first down. Aiden Colon got the first. Now they run another play, and Colon might have fumbled the football. That run will be the last play of the quarter, but does Fort Lee maintain possession? I think they do. So Colon got the first down on the run. Then there was a run on first down. And so now what we have, if you didn't hear the referee there, is an injury timeout and simultaneously the end of the third quarter. No one scored in that third frame. It's 14-0 Fort Lee, and they have the ball in the red zone, and that is how we will start the fourth quarter after this injury timeout. I will be right back. So we are just about ready for the start of the fourth quarter. I am Tommy Aquilina. You are watching the Fort Lee Athletics stream here on YouTube. Fort Lee leading Cliffside Park Ridgefield. 2nd down and 5 from the 13. Direct snap to Aiden Cologne. Aiden Cologne does not have the first down. A score here for the Bridgemen would be an absolute backbreaker for the 0-1 Red Raiders. It's going to be a gain of 4 for Cologne, so 3rd and 1 from the 9. Or make that the 4. They give it to Cologne. Is he in there? Do we have a signal? I'm not sure. Oh, no, he got it. There was someone signaled somewhere. Aiden Cologne has himself a touchdown. That's his 2nd of the game. Stasi Katsayanis is lining up for the extra point. And his kick was blocked. So that was a very nonchalant touchdown right there, scored by Aiden Cologne. It looks like a Red Raider was injured on the extra point play. The referees were not very demonstrative in making their call, but Aiden Cologne has himself a 2nd rushing touchdown of the night and a 6th. That's right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I lied. That's wrong. A 5th, sorry. 5 rushing touchdowns for Aiden Cologne in not quite 2 full games. Stasi Katsayanis, for the 2nd time this season, had an extra point blocked. So he is 2 for 3 on PATs, and it's 20-0 Fort Lee. 11:22 remaining in the 4th quarter. So 2 more rushing touchdowns tonight for Cologne. A touchdown pass from Senator to Balbuena. And this Fort Lee rushing attack, it was impressive last year. It is still impressive this year. Between Cologne, Leposki, Chun, and Peralta. 8 rushing touchdowns this year for the Bridgemen. In not even 2 full games. We are still in the middle of an injury timeout. The Red Raiders will get the football whenever it ends. Once again, I will step aside. Don't go anywhere. Both teams have once again taken the field. It will be Josh Efremov kicking off for the Bridgemen. A couple Red Raiders back to receive, and it's not going to get to either one of them. I believe that was Schaefer handling it. And a pretty decent return for Schaefer. So the Red Raiders will take over with 11:18 to go here in the fourth quarter. They have scored 7 points in their first 7 quarters of the season. And it will be 1st and 10 from their own 40. Marashulo back to pass, trying to avoid pressure. Gets the pass off to Schaefer. Did Schaefer hold on to that? Oh, he did hold on to that. That is a first down grab for Eddie Schaefer. 2 Bridgemen in on the tackle, and the Red Raiders are in Fort Lee territory. It's 1st and 10 from, let's call it the 47 and a half. Going with this formation where 4 receivers are on the one side. Marashulo going to look the other way and go deep. The catch is made. Was he in bounds? No, he was not. I believe that was Darbo, the intended receiver. It was Darbo, the intended receiver. And Fort Lee's number 1, June Best, should get credit for a pass deflection there. Last week, Best, who plays offense and defense for the Bridgemen, had 1 tackle. Breaks up that pass there. It is 2nd and 10 from the 48. 10:35 to go in the fourth quarter. Same formation as the last play for Tom Mandel's squad. Marashulo dumps it off to Gonzalez. That's a lateral. Gonzalez is going the wrong way. Now he cuts back. Gonzalez breaking tackles and getting to the 40-yard line before being dragged down there by, I believe, number 9, Josh DeHoyas. So a lot of running there done by Brian Gonzalez. Ultimately, he gains 8 yards, and it will be 3rd and 2 from the 39. Obviously, down by 20. This is 4 down territory for CPR. Marashulo takes the snap and gets punched backwards. I do not know if he got it. That was Joel Rodriguez getting in there for the Bridgemen. I don't believe that's going to be a sack for Rodriguez, but he will get credit for the tackle. It will be a 0-yard run for Marashulo, and it will be 4th and 2 from the 39. Basically a last gasp effort right here for the Red Raiders as we approach the 9-minute mark of the fourth quarter. Marashulo trying to get the offsides. Good discipline by the Bridgeman defense, and Tom Mandel will call a timeout. Really good job by the Bridgemen right there not to jump on that hard count and give Cliffside Park Ridgefield a first down. Instead, the Red Raiders have to burn a timeout. 8:48 to go here in the fourth quarter. Fort Lee trying to hang on and improve to 2-0 on the year and 1-0 in division. A loss would drop the Red Raiders to 0-2, and that would be 2 divisional losses. Next week, they will take on Memorial, who also entered play this week, 1-0. On 4th and 2, they pitch it for Darbo rather, sorry. And Laz Darbo has a first down for the Red Raiders. They're not dead yet, though they are going to have to triple their output from last game and so far this game here in the fourth quarter. Von der Linden hustling on for the Bridgemen. Not quite a hurry-up offense here for the Red Raiders. Marashulo to Gregory, and Chris Gregory will get to the 20 or close to it. He gets to the 21 officially. Gain of 5 for the Red Raiders, and it looks like Chris Chun is a little shaken up. So a quick officials timeout as Chun heads to the sideline. And they're going to tell the teams to not even go to the sidelines, just stay on the field. It's 2nd and 5 from the Fort Lee 21, and there are 8 minutes and 20 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter. Big rivalry game underneath the Thursday night lights, and Fort Lee currently leads Cliffside Park Ridgefield 20-0. Play is blown dead before it starts. There was a soccer or volleyball that made its way onto the field, but this is football, so all right. Now we're ready. Marashulo looks to his right, now runs to his left, stops, fakes a throw, trying to avoid a tackle. Did he get that to Darbo? I think he did. No, he did not. Pass intended for Darbo, broken up, and it will be 3rd and 5 with 7 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Now Von der Linden will come off for the Bridgemen, replaced by number 70, Fareed Peregrino Brima. Marashulo giving his team directions in the huddle. Now they line up for this 3rd down and 5 play. Marashulo looking right, passing to Gonzalez. Brian Gonzalez is dragged down right at the line of scrimmage. There were 2 Bridgemen in the area, including Balbuena. I don't know who's going to get credit for the tackle, but I do know that it's 4th down. Another official timeout. Let's see, is it going to be a 1-yard gain or not? Might have been a 2-yard gain for Gonzalez on that grab. So 4th down and 3 from the 19. Another big 4th down play for the Red Raiders. Marashulo goes hard snap. Once again, the Bridgemen do not fall for it. Now they snap it. Marashulo running from Bayrami, finds a man for the first down. Nice poise by the junior quarterback from Ridgefield. Got that pass off, I believe, to Drake Lewis for the first down. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 15. Time not on the Red Raiders' side, but they can get a first down here without scoring. We are quickly approaching the 7-minute mark of the fourth quarter. Like I said, time not on the Red Raiders' side. Four receiver set. Under 7 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Marashulo looking to his left, running to his left. Marashulo throws it away. Are they going to get him for intentional grounding?
Personal foul, number 1 of the defense. Half the distance.
No, it's going to be a penalty against June Best of the Bridgman. They've cleaned up their penalty issues a little bit from last week. That was not a great penalty. Best is not sure what exactly he did, but it's half the distance to the goal. So it'll be first down and goal from the 7.5-yard line for the Red Raiders. And their quarterback, number 7, Jason Marashulo, breaks the huddle. It'll be another first down play with 6:34 to go in the fourth quarter. Marashulo to the end zone, incomplete. He was looking for Gregory on that one.
Marashulo's pass falls incomplete, brings up second down.
So the incomplete pass stops the clock with 6:29 to go in the fourth quarter. And it is still second and goal from the 7.5. Suffice it to say, the Red Raiders are going to have to put more points on the board if they want to be more successful the remainder of the season. Looking to get on the board here about halfway through the fourth quarter. Marashulo to Gregory, and he gets hit immediately. That was Gabriel Jimenez. We have not called his name much tonight, but he makes a solid tackle there. And it'll be third down and goal.
Third and 8 from the 11.
Jimenez led the Bridgmen last week with 8 tackles. Got another one there. And we are now more than halfway through this fourth quarter. It's 3rd and 8 for Cliffside Park Ridgefield. Looking to score for the second time this season. Marashulo running to his right. He gets taken down by Jaden Lugo. Jaden Lugo basically untouched. He picks up the sack. 7 tackles last week for Lugo. I believe that's his first sack of the season, and that will all but put the nail in the coffin for CPR tonight. So it was third down. Ridgefield Park has at least one more play in them, as it'll be 4th and long. I believe they're at the 22-yard line. Marashulo has a significant hitch in his giddy-up, but he is soldiering on. And he's ready to take this snap with about 4.5 to go. Oh no, we're going to have a timeout here taken by the Red Raiders And Marashulo will limp to the sideline. Cliffside Park Ridgefield head coach Tom Mandel using his third and final timeout of the second half. 4:33 remaining here in the fourth quarter. It is fourth and incredibly long for the Red Raiders as they look to get on the board. They have had a whale of a time scoring this season, losing 30-7 last week to Dwight Morrow, and now trailing 20-0 here in Fort Lee. Marashulo back to pass, maybe one more time. Oh, he goes to the end zone. He's got Eddie Schaefer for the touchdown. Schaefer beat Balbuena, and the Red Raiders will indeed get on the board. Good for them. It's 20-6 with 4:28 to go in the fourth quarter. Now let's see who attempts the point after. It was Darbo who kicked the field goal earlier. And I believe Darbo is going to attempt the PAT here. It looks like he will, and Lewis will hold for him. They get the proper number of players onto the field. Again, Darbo, a lefty kicker. Oh my goodness, he didn't even run and wind up. He just stood there. He basically stood right next to the placeholder. And I've never seen that before. He just stood next to the placeholder, and after the ball was held, he just wound up his left leg and kicked it, and it was good. Alrighty then. So Laz Darbo, 0 for 1 on field goals tonight, 1 for 1 on points after, and it is 20-7 Fort Lee with 4 minutes and 28 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. A faint, very faint, but heartbeat for the Red Raiders. You figure here they would try to go for an onside kick. And so if I was Charles Salame, I would get my hands team out there. I see Chun, Leposki, Lugo, Vickers. I believe Best as well up front for Fort Lee. If there is an onside kick and Fort Lee recovers, that would just about do it. It will be Darbo kicking off, whether it's an onside kick or not.
In the bleachers, again, at the conclusion of tonight's game, we will hold the Fort Lee students in the bleachers. We thank you for your anticipated cooperation.
Also, Kendry Peralta up front for the Bridgemen. And here we go. Not a bad kick, and a couple Bridgemen ran into each other, but it was held on to. That was actually Senator and I believe Ian Park. But Fort Lee does take over in their own territory but they are firmly in control of this game with 4:26 remaining. CPR also cannot stop the clock. It'll be 1st and 10, Fort Lee from their own 48. Senator, who caught that onside kick. One passing touchdown this evening. Now rearranging his squad. He's got Cologne and his 2 rushing touchdowns to his left. He gives it to Cologne. And Aiden Cologne is into Red Raider territory. That should take us under the 4-minute mark here in the 4th quarter. Obviously, if you're Fort Lee here, you want a nice, long, sustained drive, and you want as much time as possible to come off the clock. The Bridgemen are probably not going to throw on this possession. It's 2nd and 5. Fort Lee playing the clock game as Let's Go Fort Lee chants ring throughout the night. Cologne, I believe, is just short of the 1st down. It should be 3rd and 1 for the Bridgemen. And in all likelihood, the next time they snap the ball, there will be less than 3 minutes to go on the clock. The Bridgemen, not in a hurry. Now Senator to Cologne, and Aiden Cologne has himself a 1st down run, capping off a fantastic evening for the senior running back. Five rushing touchdowns through 2 games for Aiden Cologne. The Bridgemen lead this one 20-7, and they are on their way to improving to 2-0 on the year and 1-0 in division ahead of a tough matchup at Newark Eastside in 1 week. The Red Raiders will fall to 0-2 in division, and they will be in last place, at least a share of last place in the Ivy White division. Another handoff to Cologne. Aiden Cologne to the 30. Aiden Cologne dragging a defender with him inside the 20, and he is finally taken down at the 15-yard line. That was Jaden Drone going for a ride on the back of Aiden Cologne there. They're going to mark Cologne down at the 16. And so Fort Lee is looking for more here, even though this one has all but been decided. It looks like Fort Lee is not looking for more. They will take a knee or 2 to run out the clock. They're not going to run up the score now that this one is really over, no matter what CPR does. And they're going to make sure no one gets injured ahead of next week's game against Newark Eastside. Meanwhile, Cliffside Park, Ridgefield will be at Memorial. One more knee for Luke Senator to do it. And the Fort Lee Bridgemen have started off the season 2-0. An absolute thrashing of Hapatcong, 49-6, 6 days ago. And tonight, in a rivalry game underneath the Thursday night lights, they defeat the Cliffside Park Ridgefield Red Raiders. They're going to have to knee it one more time in the last few seconds. Luke Senator with a touchdown pass to Jalen Balbuena. 2 more rushing touchdowns for Aiden Colon. Stasi Katsayanis was 2 for 3 on PATs, and that is a Bridgman victory. The final score, Fort Lee 20, Cliffside Park Ridgefield 7. I want to give a special thank you to everyone who contributed to this stream, specifically Fort Lee's Dimitri Nanas and Athletic Director Michael Raftery. Also, thank you so much for listening tonight as the Red Raiders and Bridgman shake hands at midfield. I am Tommy Aquilina saying so long from the Dr. Alan W. Sugarman Sports Complex. We will see you next time, everybody. Have a good one.